In a quiet forest beside a sparkling lake lived a young turtle named Taro. Every morning he would sit by the water's edge gazing at the sky. Birds of every shape and color soared above him. Eagles, sparrows, and crows, their wings catching the sunlight, gliding effortlessly across the clouds. Taro watched them in silence, a pang of envy tugging at his heart. "If only I could fly," he whispered to himself. He imagined the wind brushing his face, the world stretching endlessly beneath him, the thrill of leaving the earth behind. But every time he opened his eyes, he saw the truth. A small, slow creature bound to the ground by his heavy shell. And deep inside, a voice whispered, "You'll never be enough." Taro's desire to fly grew into an obsession. He tied broad leaves to his little legs and leapt from rocks. He climbed trees, held his breath, and jumped. For a brief, fleeting moment, he felt the wind lift him, and then he fell, thudding painfully to the forest floor. Each failure bruised not only his shell, but also his spirit. The birds would laugh softly from above. "Taro, you're not made for the sky." But Taro only clenched his tiny fists. "I must fly. I have to." Days turned into weeks. He tried harder, pushing his body to the limit. Yet the higher he climbed, the harder the fall. Slowly, a heavy shadow crept into his heart. Doubt. Maybe the birds were right. Maybe he was meant for nothing. One night, under the silver glow of the moon, Taro lay by the lake whispering to himself, "Perhaps I'll never touch the clouds. Perhaps I'm meant to stay small, forever." Then, the world changed. The rain stopped, the lake shrank, the grass withered, leaving the forest cracked and dry. A harsh drought had arrived. The birds, the very creatures Taro had envied, flew far away in search of water. The animals who remained, deer, rabbits, even snakes, began to weaken and suffer. Taro felt the thirst burning in his throat, but when he looked into his shell, he saw something surprising. A small pool of water left behind from the lake's last days. At first, he thought only of himself. But then he heard a faint sound, a tiny, desperate chirp. A little bird chick fallen from its nest, trembling and gasping for water. Taro's heart raced. For the first time in weeks, he forgot his own dreams. "Drink," he whispered, tilting his shell. The chick drank slowly, weakly, but it lived. And then another animal came, a thirsty rabbit. Another, a parched deer. One by one, Taro shared his water, drop by drop, until his shell was empty. He had not flown, he had not soared, but he had lifted others in a way wings never could. When the rains returned, the forest bloomed again. The birds returned as well, circling above the lake. The old eagle landed nearby and looked at Taro with quiet respect. "We soared above the clouds," the eagle said, "but we could not save anyone below. You stayed, and because of you, life survived." Taro looked at his reflection in the lake, the same small turtle he had always been. Only now he saw something different, strength, purpose, and a quiet pride he had never known. "Maybe I was never meant to touch the clouds," Taro thought. "Maybe my purpose was to hold the rain." And in that realization, he felt free. Not because he could fly, but because he had embraced exactly who he was. Sometimes we look at others and wish for their wings, but our own gifts, no matter how small, may be exactly what the world needs. And like Taro, we can soar, not by leaving the ground, but by using what we already have to make a difference.